Hello everybody, welcome to Nerdy Crochet Crafts. My name is Joyce and today I'm going to be showing you how to make little skull appliques like these. They're perfect for those viral granny square skull pants you might have seen going around. They're good for hat appliques, sweaters, whatever you want really. They're pretty cute too. I'm pretty happy with how they turned out, especially once they're attached. The eyes open a little bit more, but even just as such, it's pretty cute. So if this is of any interest, keep watching. I will ask you guys to please leave a like if you like what you see. It would really mean the world to me, as well as if you like to crochet, are interested in learning to crochet, or just like to watch some crochet videos for funsies. I don't know. Feel free to subscribe. Again, it would really mean a lot. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. How any good crochet tutorial should start: with a cat. No, you're done? Okay, perfect. So, to get started, what you're going to need is really any size hook you're comfortable with and a matching yarn. So, in my case, I use a 3mm hook, hello buddy, and a size 3 yarn, but going by that logic, you can pretty much just kind of go up from there. You want to use a size 4 yarn, which is your typical worsted weight. You could probably use a 4 or a 4.5. If you want to use that chunky yarn, probably, just kind of go adjustingly. You don't want it to be too tight. You don't want it to be too loose. So just a nice in-between tension. There are a couple ways you could start this. Personally, I do the magic loop, or the magic ring, sorry. But I know a lot of people don't like the magic ring. So I will show you how to do both. So to start with, you have your yarn. I'm left-handed, by the way, but what the heck? Anyways, but I don't know if it's going to affect it very much, so you be the judge of that. You've got your yarn attached to the ball over here. I'm going to put it in your palm. Wrap around your fingers twice, like this. Then look at your knuckles from the top. You're going to want to go under the first one, and then over the top one. Pull under, and kind of turn like this. Now, while you're like this, you're still holding the yarn that's connected to the ball. Go underneath that and pull it through. Now, it's not really all that secure yet, so what I do is I put one regular single crochet into the hole. Now, this isn't going to move anymore. You're good. You don't have to worry about it like unraveling or anything like that. Then when you're ready to tighten, you'll just pull on this little string right here. Now, if that was just simply too complicated, I completely understand. Not everybody's brain works the same, and some things are just easier for some than others. I don't personally prefer this technique because I have a hard time getting all the stitches into the first chain, but you can also do the chain 2 technique. Keep your first chain nice and on the looser side, and then you make 2 chains. Or in this, like normally you would make 2 chains. In this case, you're going to make 6. So add an extra 4. You would kind of build your forehead, if you will, with the stitches we're about to do. Now, if you had the magic ring, you would do the exact same thing. Keep that first stitch in the magic ring and then just add the extra 5. And then you would still be left with the circle at the bottom. You'd be working into the big circle. If you're doing it this way, you're going to be working into the first chain. So you're going to wrap around 3 times. It's not a triple crochet, it's the one after that. I don't know the name, but then you're going to go into the first stitch. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's a little tedious, but you get the hang of it after a little bit. Chain 1 in between each one. You're going to want 10 sticks here. So 1, 2, 3. Into the starting hole, 1, go through the 1, and then go through 2, 2, 2, 2. Chain 1, and then continue until you have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These two might look a little close together, but that's okay. That's still 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 10 here. Now, after you've got your 10, you're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're going to slip stitch into that first chain again. See, and this is kind of what I meant by I prefer doing it the other way, is just because the first stitch gets like kind of stretched out and it doesn't really affect the work at all. It's just genuinely just a personal preference, you know? Now, this part's a little bit finicky because you're like, oh, well, how do I get the nose, right? Gonna turn it around and slip stitch up 2 stitches. It can be a little hard to see. It's not the end of the world if you don't get it like perfectly, but once you've slip stitched into 2 stitches, turn back around and then continue as normal by doing 2 chains and then a double crochet into the original first chain again. What that does is it creates this little gap for the nose. And now because we've already got a little bit of the beginning of the eye shape here, we don't have to do a full 7 like we did the first time. I only do 6. I found that the first few I made that had 7 on both sides had one very lopsided big eye, and I didn't like that. So you do 6 chains here. Then where you're going to go into is kind of stretch out these 2 stitches here. You can see the first one right here. Right there is where we're going to be working into. And we're going to be doing single crochets in each of the 18 stitches that are going to be up here. Say 18. Well, frankly, it still baffles me a tiny bit. I'm still a little confused by it. I think it's just the first and the last stitch kind of get dropped, but honestly, I'm not quite sure. All I know is it pans out to be 18 when you go all the way around. You do 1 here, and then in between each stick, they're going to be, oh, that's what it is. Okay, so you're kind of skipping the top chain of the last stick and then going right into the in-between gap. So you're kind of skipping that first one. That's why it's going to pan out to go 18 stitches, even though it should be 20 because there's 10 stitches and 10 chains, right? But it does pan out to be 18. And it doesn't really warp the shape at all, as you can see. I should keep that in for, as I was saying though, you're going to single crochet all the way around by going in between the stitch and then the top of the stitch. In between, top, if I'm explaining that correctly at all, I'll show you. So you got the in between stitch there, and then the top of the stick chain. Top of the treble crochet like stitch. As you can tell, I'm very good at explaining this. Then back into the in-between stitch, so that's going to be stitch number 3, single crochet number 3, I mean, and then the one at the top again, single crochet number 4. Oh, can be a little tricky to get the ones at the top of the chains, but you'll get there. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and just take your time, keep your tension nice and stable. You don't want it to be too tight. You don't want it to be too loose either, because then you won't have a very nice and sturdy shape. But if it's too tight, it could start to fold in the overall shape of the skull. So you want to be careful there. That was the one right at the top there, and then we've got 18. Last stitch there. So it should be 18 stitches to form around the eyes, and then after you've got those 18 stitches put in, by now, if you want to, you can tighten the middle part here. If you were doing the magic ring, you can pull it, and even if you weren't, if you tighten this here, it will tighten the middle a little bit. So now it's starting to look a little bit more neat, if you will. Now, we're going to do the underneath part of the eye now to kind of give the eye a structure and a shape. What you're going to do is you're going to single crochet just all the way around. You don't want to go through the stitch, you want to go around it. You're going to do that 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's where it starts to get a little bit more iffy. So you're going to chain 4, and you're going to single crochet back into the 3. Skip the first one, of course. 1, 2, my goodness, 2, and 3. And then you're going to slip stitch into the stitch next to the nose, on the right side of the nose. Now what we're doing right now is we're building that little teethy part down here. So what we want to do is we want to keep it kind of like nice and symmetrical. So one of the slip stitches going back and forth is going to go on this side of the nose, one's going to go in between the nose, one's going to go on the right side of the nose, and then the last one's going to go in the middle of the eye here to kind of match up with the middle of the eye one here. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So after you're done your 3 stitches and your slip stitch into the right side of the nose, you're going to turn it around. You're going to do that 3 single crochet on all the way back up that little mouth area. 1, 2, 3, and then chain 1, turn it around, go 3 single crochets back again. This part's pretty simple, which is very nice. It makes a nice shape and it's not awfully complicated. Whoops. You just kind of have to be cautious where you do your slip stitches because you don't want it to be lopsided. Now, this part's a little finicky. It doesn't really matter too much which middle stitch here you pick because once everything's scrunched up together, it won't really matter. You're going to slip stitch into one of these 2 middle stitches in the middle of the nose. Turn it around again. 1, 2, 3, up the mouth again, chain 1 more, turn it around, and then single crochet back down again. We're almost done, almost there. These do work up rather quickly, which is part of why I like them. Now that we're back down, like I said, we're going to do the one on the left side of the nose. So you're going to pick either this stitch or this stitch. Again, it doesn't matter too much, but I prefer taking the closer one in to the rest of the work. Slip stitch, turn it around, and this is going to be the last time we do the up and down on the mouth. So 1, 2, 3, chain again, of course. 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to slip stitch in the kind of middle of the eye the same way, kind of trying to match where it is on the other eye. So I usually do the second stitch in. It's pretty good for me. It looks good that way. And then to kind of even this side out, because this is only chains, you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets all the way around the eye, not through the stitch, but all the way around. And then 1 more into that first little stitch here, another single crochet. And then the next one you can do a slip stitch. Now that helps keep the side of the face as round on this side as it is on this side. After you've done your slip stitch, you can work off your work, pull it through, and voila. Now, as you can tell, there's no little loose ends, so as an extra little bonus, I'll show you how I do that part as well. Now, you want to make sure that you're looking at the front side of your work. It kind of curves in like a bowl, so you should be able to tell quite quickly, but the side that you can see the V's of the stitches pointing towards you is the front. The side where it looks more like a cloudy, puffy, not as pretty side, that's the back. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this little thread here and pull it from the front side to the back side. That kind of hides it in that side stitch there. And then you can pick either the second or third stitch. I usually do the second stitch here. You're going to just kind of weave your crochet hook. Now this part's a little messy sometimes, but you know what? Crocheting isn't always perfect and prim and pretty and perfect. And I said perfect already. It doesn't always have to be fun. Sometimes you just get to stab your project a little bit, and that's the fun. Oh, sir. Sir, that is mine. I am making a tutorial. You can't run away with my skulls just yet. So then you're going to pull that through like this. It looks a little ugly, but just pull it, straighten it through, all that nice stuff. See, that's still a little too far from the middle, so I'm going to go in one more stitch. You can use one of the middle stitches by hooking it like this. And then bring it as close to that middle as you can. So as you can tell, it's nicely blended in that side. If I didn't point out that it's got a difference to it, you wouldn't be able to tell. And then once they're both back here, nice and close together, just, you know, your classic double knot, or if you are me, triple knot, because I'll be darned if I make a project for multiple hours. Oops, don't pull too tight, because as you can tell, if you pull too tight on a double knot and it doesn't feel like being tightened, it will do that. But yeah, I'll be darned if I work on a project for potentially hours and then have it all unravel because my double knot decided to fail me. So after you've got your double or triple knot, snip that off, and you'll have yourself one of potentially many skulls. There we go, guys. That's how you make a very quick and easy skull applique. So I hope this helped you guys, and I hope you enjoyed. This was actually my first tutorial I've ever made, so if you found it helpful, again, feel free to leave a like and subscribe, whatever you feel like doing. I'd really appreciate it. And if anybody has any pointers that they could give me, any advice, any tips, tricks, things that could be good to know in my, you know, attempts through this, I would deeply appreciate that as well. Feel free to leave that down in the comments down below. Any suggestions on things you'd like to see, I'd love to see that in the comments as well. And if you have any questions on if I missed any steps or instructions that were unclear, again, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. Feel free to follow me as well on Instagram and TikTok. Same username, Nerdy Crochet Crafts. Can't wait to see you there. Have a wonderful night. See ya.